What's up, everybody? Cinephile Mike here. We are in Season 4 of Award Season Reviews, counting down to the 98th Academy Awards with 98 reviews in 98 days. Quick reminder before we dive in, please make sure you click that subscribe button so you don't miss any awards reviews. We've only got a few left. We are in our 13th theme week, and it is the other side of awards week, where before we get to that final countdown, those last few Oscar-nominated flicks, we're going to look at some of the films that maybe didn't get that same recognition. And yes, we're nominated for at least one Razzie Award, but we are not here to judge. We are here to see what didn't connect and whether or not that criticism fits. Today I am looking at Netflix's most expensive original film ever made, The Electric State. Co-written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, based on the novel of the same name by Simon Stålenhag, and directed by the Russo brothers, this film was released just under a year ago. What's it about? Well, in an alternate version of the 1990s, decade I remember very well, a devastating, horrible, atrocious war between humans and robots has reshaped society. The conflict was ultimately, won through the invention of technology called the Neurocasters, created by Center and their CEO, Ethan Skate, played by Stanley Tucci. This is a system that allows human consciousness to be uploaded into a drone and allows humans to kind of split their brains in half. Live your best life and have the robot do the stuff you don't want to do. As a result of this winning out, the robots who survived were banished to a barren area called the Exclusion Zone, while much of humanity embraced their new reality, living like mindless drones. Skip forward a few years and we now have teenager Michelle, played by Millie Bobby Brown, who is one of the few resisting this tech-dependent culture. She was orphaned after a tragic car accident that killed her parents and her younger brother Christopher, played by Woody Norman. Allegedly. As a result, she drifts through foster homes and is also seen as the troublesome one at school because, you know what? She just doesn't want to put on one of those Neurocasters and be educated like her peers. She prefers to have a book in her hand. Now, her rebellion is interrupted when a familiar-looking robot named Cosmo, voiced by Master of Voices Alan Tudyk, finds her and begins communicating in interesting ways, but it suggests that her brother Christopher might still be alive. Determined to find out what happened, Michelle sets out across a fractured, broken American landscape in search of answers. She encounters a smuggler named Keats, played by Chris Pratt, and his bestie, a shape-shifting robot named Herman, voiced by Anthony Mackie, and off they go, headed for the forbidden Exclusion Zone, where the remnants of the robot society survive under the unlikely leadership of a robot of a famed snack, voiced by Woody Harrelson. And ultimately, long-buried secrets about, this war and Michelle's family begin to surface. And what starts as a personal search slowly expands into something much, much, much bigger, hinting that this new world might not be as wonderful as it seems. Here's the thing. At its core, this is a fascinating concept, right? Let's take a retro-futuristic America that's shaped by AI dependence and, humanity's willingness, let's trade our normal lives for virtual reality. There's such a great basis for storytelling here. And now, I am not as familiar with the original source material. I'm kind of curious to pick it up, although I know these two divulge. They go in such different directions from some other content I've read. I'm not sure. But, this seductive attitude of, a better virtual existence, it feels timely and it's layered. And, the idea to look at, technological overreach and the way we're obsessed with it, that's there. Now, here's the mixed bag. Performance-wise, Millie Bobby Brown, I think she does a fairly decent job carrying the emotional spine of the film. There's conviction there. She brings sincerity. She brings vulnerability. And she does the best she can with the material that she's given. Now, aside from her, and obviously some of the wonderful voice acting. Like I said, Alan Tudyk is a master of voices. We have Chris Pratt. He brings that usual Star-Lord-esque kind of charm to the character of Keats, but, you know, that charisma that was once so effortless, it's really kind of, for me, with Mercy and this, it's starting to diminish a little bit. It's almost kind of like I'm seeing too many of the same variants from him. Then we have Giancarlo Esposito, who, you know, he delivers some of the menace very effectively, but a lot of his presence we're watching through one of the drones. So I don't know how well that lands for me. And look, I was also excited. Ke Kwan, he's having his comeback, but some of these comeback projects have just, wow, really missed. And this one, his role is very underdeveloped and barely used, which was a little disappointing. But probably not as disappointing as, you know, Stanley Tucci, who's capable of much better than what we got here. So one has to wonder, is there a directing issue? Visually, however, this film is undeniably striking. The robots, the sweeping desolation of the Exclusion Zone, everything has amazing details, wonderful to look at. It's not surprising that it was shortlisted for the Oscars and in the conversation. Stephen F. Wyndon's cinematography is the nice compliment. He gets the scale. He gets the character beats. We get the bigger scale spectacle. But still, for all this visual beauty, the film itself feels very compressed and very, with so much world building and thematic weight to navigate through. Oftentimes the story just feels a little bit rushed. Like, maybe this would have benefited from a limited series instead of just one feature film. We know the Russo brothers are no strangers to large-scale epics, right? Infinity War, Endgame, the upcoming Doomsday. Something like this should be in their wheelhouse, but there's just not enough to make it soar. And it's a shame that this film just kind of opts to go for style over substance. Now, let's talk about the box office and the awards. Like the majority of Netflix films, I'm sorry, no box office information. Critically, a divide here. The critics did not like this one. Out of 158 critical reviews, the film has a 14% tomato meter, but it's higher with the audience with a 67% based on over 5,000 audience reviews. Award season-wise, the film is nominated for 6 awards in total. On the Razzie side, which makes up 50% of these, there are 3 nods: Worst Picture, a nomination that it also has from the Golden Schmoes Awards, Worst Director, and Worst Screenplay. However, both Brown and Pratt are nominated for Favorite Movie Actress and Actor at the Kids' Choice Awards. So the kids are feeling it. Are these 3 Razzies worthy? I don't think so. Was this a particularly good film? It had moments. But to that end, for me, 2 stars. But let me know your thoughts. That's what I would like to know. If you haven't seen The Electric State, head over to Netflix, check it out, drop a thought in the comments. All right. Thank you all for joining me for episode 87 of Award Season Reviews, Season 4. We've only got 11 days left, so stay with me. Be sure to subscribe to the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, drop your thoughts in those comments. You can follow me everywhere. I'm on all the social platforms. And please check out my website, cinephilemike.com, where you can find lots of additional movie reviews and interviews with some of this year's Oscar-nominated directors. All right. I'll see everyone tomorrow with the next review, but until then, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.